Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking this 9-inch rear end and we're going to shorten it a couple inches. The way I'm going to do this is using these axle housing ends. I got off of eBay. I've used another set of these and they work really good. Basically you get your ends cut straight, get the old end cut off, cut it to the length you want, and then these have a taper on the inside, and everything goes together really straight. Now, I don't have an alignment bar. A lot of people talk about using an alignment bar through your center chunk to keep everything aligned. I've done this twice before and I've had good results out of both of them. I have one car, it has probably 7,000 or 8,000 miles on it, and I haven't had an issue out of it yet. With eating up bearings, I've used the old bearings like these that came on the axles that I got, and haven't had a problem with that, haven't had a problem with leaks. But anyways, you can get these off of eBay. They're 90 bucks. They were 69, they went up in price. Now they have 1/2-inch holes already tapped into them, which is really nice, really convenient for changing gears. It helps, it's a lot faster. And then you get your correlating plates. These are the early style. Get your plates with 1/2-inch holes in them, and they have thicker ones. These are fine for what I'm doing. And then also, I got a welding 1/4-inch bung. This was made in America. It was $7. I'm gonna weld it in the bottom of the case, or the axle housing, so that it makes it a lot easier to drain the oil out whenever you're doing a gear change. And I'll weld a nipple on the top side to fill it with. It makes it really easy. So this is a fairly, for about 120 bucks you can shorten the rear end if you already have it, plus your axles. Now these axles and that ring gear, I paid 80 bucks for them. So all together we'll have it together for under about 500 bucks with, axles, gears, housing, everything. Now I go to BYOT Auto Parts and I pick these housings up on their half price days. I think it's 40% off now, for about $120. You get a complete rear end for 120 bucks. Sell the old parts at the old axles and stuff at the swap meet, and save you a little money. So first thing I'll do is I'll show you how I like to measure it, so that you know how much to cut off each end. Here we have the axles in the third member. So we got them in, we got them all the way. The splines are as far in as they'll go. And what I came out with was 59.5 from axle facing to, or axle flange to axle flange, or where the wheels mount up. And so now I've taken some measurements and I'll tell you what I've come up with. Okay, here's what I've done. I've measured from this inside edge of the bearing, because this is what is going to, this edge is what will sit flush up against this edge right here. Okay, once this is on the housing like this. And then I measured from here to the outside edge of this bolt right here. Now you could go off of that one, or you could go off of this one down here, but I measured this one, and what I came up with was 19.25 inches from here to here. Okay, and so I went to my rear end and I measured from this bolt, from the edge of this bolt, to 18.75 of an inch, and I put a mark right here. And you might be like, okay, that's not the measurement you gave us. Well, if you look at this, there's a lip in here. Do you see this? I'll try this one-handed with the camera. There's a lip on the inside. This lip is a 1/2 inch thick. So we need to subtract that from our axle housing, because it will sit right here, right? And then our bearing will be right here. So what I have done is I have measured here, and then I've done the same thing on this side. I measured from here to here, this outside edge, and what I came up with was 23 3/8. So subtract a 1/2 inch from that, it's 22 7/8, and that puts me right here on the very edge. I don't know if you can see that mark or not. So this weld is going to somewhat be in the way. Now, I could probably get away with running this axle end here the way it is, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut this one off because I think those other ones are much stronger, and I just like them better. Because this is the same housing end. This is just, you can see how much beefier this is versus this. I mean, this thing's got who knows how many miles on it. I'm not really comfortable with the way it's welded. And these are just butted together. Now this will overlap. This goes down in there, I don't know, half an inch or so. So once we get it welded on there, it'll come way back over here like this. So some of y'all may know this trick, some of y'all may not. It's an old welder's trick. But basically you take this hose clamp and you tighten it down on your mark, as I've got right there. You tighten it down and it will then sometimes I'll leave the hose clamp on, but I'll take and put me a mark all the way around that out. Okay, we're back with a new hose clamp. Alright. So you make sure this thing's tightened down. Tight as you can get it. And what it will do is it will square itself up. Now this probably needs to be cut off. But as you can see, it's flat all the way around. So then you take your marker and you just mark all the way around it. So now you have a straight edge right here to cut up against. And that's what we'll do next. Okay, sorry, I thought I was recording. Alright, so we got this cut off, and basically what I did is I cut away the red line. So you can see there's no red line on this side, but I left just a little edge of it right there. And then you take these ends and you slide them on. Now last time they were a little tight, and they're a little tight this time too. So since it's a little tight, I'm going to go ahead and cut the other side off, and then I'll come in here with a grinder and clean this up. Man, there's just a little bit difference. I don't know, probably a 1/16, maybe an 1/8 inch. So I'll take and clean it up to about right here, and we'll go from there. So here we've ground down this, or I've ground down this, the diameter of this, trying to get this to fit on there, and it's still not fitting really well, and we've gotten to a point where it's somewhat thinner here than what I would like. So what I'm going to do, and what I've done on the last one is, the last time I've done this, is I take and remove some material out of the inside of here. And like I said, it hasn't caused an issue so far in my other rear end that I've done. So we're going to do that. But I do want to say this. I'm not going to grind this. I'll taper it down some more so that it'll sit flush up against here. But I'm not going to get close to this edge, because this is what is going to help us keep all this straight. Keep it from twisting one way or the other. Is because this is somewhat flat. As flat as I could get it, and this is definitely a machine surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a die grinder, come in here and clean up this little bit right in here. Wondering what I'm doing here. So I have it standing up on the old flange, which should be square. I'm not gonna say it is, but it should be. And then I'm gonna take this level, make sure it's flat, And if you can see there, it's pretty level that way, so it's not leaning left or right. And then I'm gonna put it this way, and it's pretty level that way. So then I'm gonna take and put my level up top. I'm gonna make sure it's level there and level there, and I'm gonna tack it into place right there. I'm just gonna put a couple tacks on it, 4 tacks all the way around, on the 4 corners per se. Now I eyeballed this right here to make sure so that it's somewhat straight. I personally don't think that, and I could be completely wrong, but I personally don't think the squareness of this completely matters the way I'm going to do my brakes. Okay, some of y'all, it very well may, because your brakes may bolt to this, and that might be the style brakes you run, but that's not the brakes I run, so that doesn't necessarily matter to me. Okay, now that could be right or wrong, that's just the way I do it. So now we'll put the center trunk in it with the gasket. There's already some gasket there, so I'll just leave that gasket in there, and then test fit an axle and see how far in our axles go after I tack weld this. Now I took my axle and I filled up the splines with grease, and you may be able to see it, you may not, you may get a better idea of it like that. So I'm going to slide the axle in and see how much engagement we have, because we need a lot of engagement on this spool, and I just want to double check to make sure we are going to be able to get that. But we were able to get the axle out, and we got all the axle engagement we're going to get out of it, and it sits flush. So we know that our rear end, the flange that we cut and welded back on, is in the right location. So we're going to go ahead and weld that side up. Okay, so now that we know this is the axle fits and it's square because we leveled it and tacked it. Now we're going to go ahead and put a full bead all the way around it to go ahead and lock it in place, and then we'll do the same thing to the other side. Okay guys, so we got both ends welded on. We got everything test fit. I test fitted the axles and the center trunk. Everything lines up good. They're both level. Now, after I get the brakes and ladder bar brackets on, then I'll come in and weld everything out with a 7018, and so it'll be plenty strong enough. So I'll do that in a later video. But one more thing I am going to do before we finish this video up is I have 2 things, and this is not necessarily, you don't have to do this, but it's something I like to do. It makes it convenient. And one thing I do is I bought this drain. This is just it's a 1/4-inch bung. I ordered it off eBay, made in USA. Now I got a plug in there for now so that it doesn't flex whenever I weld or I get any splatter inside the threads. And this is the bottom side. I will drill a hole. I'm going to drill a hole, and I'll probably have to, I don't have this size drill bit, so I'll go in and open it up so it just fits in there. I'll put this here, and then I will take, this is just, it's actually galvanized, so I'll have to grind that off, and it's made in China. But this is just a 1-inch coupler and a 1-inch plug, and I will drill a hole in the back side of the casing. Top side I'm going to put it here, probably somewhere right in here, that way it's out of the way of the ring gear, and it'll be easy to fill that way. That way it makes it easier whenever you go to do a gear change or something like that. So we'll get started on that. Okay, so as you can see, this is the bottom side. This is going to be the top of our rear end. So what I want to do is, I want to put this thing to where it's facing upwards. It just, you know, you can't put it in flat like this, and it makes it hard to pour. I want to put it in where it's facing upwards. And there's probably a couple ways I can do this. But I think I want to put it right here at this angle, although I may put it right down here. And I'm going to put it up here at this angle. Okay, so I'm going to drill a hole here on this side, and hopefully my drill will hold up long enough to get this drilled. And then also my hole saw I have is not big enough for this, so I'll have to go in and clean it up with die grinder again. Okay guys, so here's the completed rear end. We got both axles in it, both ends welded up. We got the Phillips spout welded in. We got a plug in it. We've got the drain plug down here. I'm sorry, it's a little dark. Got it in. Now, I don't have the bolts to put the retainer plates on. We'll do that in the next video with the brakes. Now look, bear in mind, this is taking me 2 weeks to do this, or almost 3 weeks, a little bit at a time while starting and stopping. So I apologize for some footage that might be missing. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I'll answer any questions I can, or any questions you may have. Thank you all for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.